Hi, I'm Shauna. I'm back here with Grace, just resting on her dog bed. And we're continuing with the Betty Dog series. We're on book 2, Betty Dog and Gracie Find Their Power. And we're on chapter 4. It's called No Care Daycare. Well, well, what do we have here? Asked the Fuzzy Muzzle Man as he came out from behind the desk. His voice almost sounded like he was singing a little song. This is BD and her friend Grace, answered the Fuzzy Muzzle Woman. Grace would like to join our daycare family. What's a BD? He asked a little harshly. What? Oh, why, it's Betty Dog. She looked flustered. The Dalmatian. She's a regular here. This is our manager, she said to Becca and Sonal, almost apologetically. I'm just kind of surprised you don't know her, she turned back to him. Everyone here loves BD. She forced a tense smile to lighten the mood. When you say everyone, you must be referring to the dog staff, he sneered. I'm the boss and too busy running this business to know any of the animals. In fact, I don't know anything about animals. I'm a businessman, he told the Fuzzy Muzzle Woman proudly. I'm sorry, she stammered. She spoke carefully as if she were in the principal's office, trying to get out of a punishment that she didn't deserve. I only meant that BD is so special that everyone who meets her remembers her and loves her. Of course, as our office manager, you wouldn't know any of the dogs personally. She turned and looked at Becca and Sonal. This man is the best office manager we've ever had. He has made Fuzzy Muzzle the best daycare in the whole world. This man is the best office manager we've ever had, he mimicked her in a high voice. It's true, he smiled, I am. But I don't need you to praise my work when you don't have a clue what I do. Maybe someday I'll show you so you can try to understand. Her face turned bright red after being insulted in front of the customers. Then he turned to Becca, Sonal, and the girls. Hello, he said as he smiled and extended his hand to shake theirs. His palm was sticky yet cold. Fiona saw Gigi wipe her hand on her dress afterwards as she quickly stuffed both of them in her pockets and looked at the floor. Then the manager turned to BD, who had moved in front of Becca and Fiona, blocking him from getting too close. So, is this the young lady who wants to join our family? He asked, as he reached out to pat BD's head. She let out a low, soft growl. I hear a growl in there somewhere, he sang, as if he were singing a little nursery rhyme to a baby. It's okay, Spotty, he chuckled. No one will hurt you. No, said Becca, this is Betty Dog, and she already comes here. These are my friends, Sonal, Gigi, and their new dog, Grace. They would like to bring Gracie here. Her happiness instantly disappeared, and now she felt something was really wrong and weird and off. That was the word, off. Like off-key or offline or just off. I knew that, he snapped as he turned to Grace, who was sitting tall and calm next to Gigi. Grace's large brown eyes met his, and she stared at him with intelligence, as if she had just made a move on a chessboard, and now it was his turn. But he didn't know what to do. He could only stare back at her. Finally, he spoke again. What is she? If you mean what breed is she, then we believe she's mostly lab. She's a lab mix, Sonal answered him. Becca could hear the irritation in Sonal's voice. More warning signals, like when your computer says a virus has been found. Suddenly things were going badly, right after the manager showed up. Mixed with what? He asked meanly. We don't know, Sonal raised her voice a little. She was still feeling sorry for the Fuzzy Muzzle Woman, who had been disciplined as if she had done something wrong when she hadn't. It had been uncomfortable to watch, like when you're a kid and your friend's mom or dad yells at them in front of you. Now he was treating Sonal the same way. She answered him in her teacher voice, clearly, calmly, slowly. She's a rescue dog my husband and I adopted. Without medical testing, no one knows for sure what other breeds might be part of her makeup. Let's just call her a really great dog. So what's your point? Let's just call her a really great dog, he mimicked her. My point is, young lady, that number 1, you don't need to shout. My hearing is fine. And number 2, I have a news flash for you and your husband, he sneered. I see some pit in there. That's short for pit bull terrier. She's a bully breed. Maybe bulldog, maybe pit. You see that white stripe down her chest? Yep, definitely bully. He stood up, went to his desk, and grabbed a wet wipe to clean his hands, as if pointing to Grace had made them dirty. Then he started to leave. So what? Responded Sonal, who was totally confused. And what about the tour? And your rates? There's no tour today. We don't accept pits. He turned again to leave. What? Come back here, Sonal called to him in a no-nonsense teacher voice. He looked shocked, but he obeyed. No one had ever ordered him around since he was a kid in school, and it was automatic to respond to the teacher. "Number 1, Sonal spoke clearly and slowly. "We do not know whether Grace has any pit or bully breeds in her. Number 2, she continued. So what? If she's well behaved, healthy, and her vet record is up to date with her shots, how can you turn her away? Number 3, this is the United States of America. We are a nation of diversity. Diversity is a grown-up word that means we are made up of many colors, backgrounds, and beliefs. That is what makes our country strong. You can't turn someone away because you don't like something about them. It's against the law. So how can you turn my dog away because you don't like what you guess is part of her background? You yourself said you don't know anything about animals, let alone specific dog breeds." Becca suddenly had a huge smile. She watched with pride as her friend stood up to the manager, who was clearly an unkind person. Sonal was a small woman, but she had big energy and strong spirit. And Sonal had just turned the Fuzzy Muzzle lobby into her classroom, where she was teaching a powerful lesson about right and wrong. No one realized it, but another customer had come in and was quietly standing in the corner, holding a small white dog under one arm and his cell phone in his other hand. He watched with interest as Sonal's words swirled around the manager like swords of light. "It's policy," the manager mumbled. "What did you say?" asked Sonal. "We can't hear you. Can you repeat that louder, please?" "I said it's policy. We don't take pets. Period. Get a hearing aid." He turned again to leave. "Come back here," Gigi suddenly shouted. He turned, and amazingly he obeyed the young voice that called out to him. Then he stared at her with cold, empty eyes. "Thank you," said Gigi. "Number 4. You didn't get to hear number 4. And that is, my mom and I would not bring our beautiful Gracie here, ever. You just lost the chance to take care of our amazing dog." "And number 5, Fiona startled herself as she heard her own voice shout out into the air. "We're taking our dog out of this place. You have lost the privilege of caring for our amazing BD. You are so rude and mean. You are the rudest grown-up I ever met." "Rude? Mean?" The manager rubbed his hands as if he was wriggling out of imaginary handcuffs. "These are dogs, kid, not people. I'm not mean just because we don't take certain breeds. Lots of daycares reject bully breeds." "That's true," Becca told him as she joined the conversation. "But just because everyone else does it, that doesn't make it right. You should set a good example by treating everyone with kindness. But you pick on your staff, and you're rude to your customers. Thank goodness you don't work directly with the dogs here. You know what? Fiona is right. We are removing BD from here. We will find a daycare where everyone, dogs and people, are treated with respect, sir." Fiona looked up and smiled at her aunt. She whispered, "I hope it was okay that I said you won't bring BD here." Becca put her arm around her and pulled her close. "It's more than okay. You stood up to him, even though he was a grown-up. In fact, you sounded more grown-up than he did. I'm proud of you," she whispered back. "Respect?" stammered the manager. "They're dogs, lady. You're as crazy as your kid. Nobody respects dogs." "Number 6, added the woman in the fuzzy-muzzled shirt, who had first greeted Becca and Sonal. "What do you mean nobody respects dogs? Dogs are smart. Dogs are loyal. Dogs are loving. You could learn a lot from them. And you know what? I quit. I only stayed because I love dogs and people so much. You don't seem to know anything about either. And I'm going to find a new daycare that values me and treats me with respect." She yanked her fuzzy-muzzle t-shirt over her head and stood in the lobby in just her jeans and tiny tank top. She thought for a moment, rolled up the t-shirt and threw it at him like she was the quarterback in a Monday night football game. He ducked as it just missed his head. Then she reached behind the counter, grabbed her backpack, and gave a thumbs up as she headed toward the door. "Oh, and by the way, there are still 2 dogs in the back waiting to be picked up. The St. Bernard is very pleasant, but watch the Chihuahua. She's a nice little dog, but has sharp teeth and can get snappy with new people. Their owners should be here any second. Don't forget to clean the kennel area after they leave later. The health department's coming tomorrow for routine inspections. Good luck." "Well, what? Dogs? Teeth? Clean the kennels? What did you say?" he stammered. "Wait," he yelled in a voice that was shrill with fear, raw fear. "Get back here," he roared. "Number 7, called a deep male voice from the corner. "I'm not bringing my amazing dog here, either. I do not want my dog in a place where there's no kindness or respect. Today you showed everyone who you really are. I have it all here," he said, as he held up his cell phone. "And just so you know, I don't need a hearing aid because I already have one. I was able to hear you perfectly, the same as these nice women did. It sounded like you were mocking hearing-impaired people, but I'm sure you weren't, right?" Oh, and one more thing, sir. Fuzzy Muzzles is spelled wrong. It should be fuzzy, with two Z's. Have a nice day. Becca and Sonal took the dogs from the girls and turned to follow him out the door. Wait, they heard a voice call. I'm sorry? The manager called after them. It came out sounding like a question rather than an apology. We are too, sighed Becca. You have no idea how sorry I am that I ever came here. BD was more than ready to leave and had already stretched her leash as she tried to follow everyone through the door. But it was Grace who stopped and turned around. She looked quietly at him as if he were some poor, injured animal on the side of the road. Her eyes filled with sadness and pity. Then she slowly turned and followed BD out of the darkness of the lobby and into the dazzling afternoon sunshine. Chapter 5 is Pick Snorts and Hiccups. Hey guys, Chase said to Becca and BD as they came through the back door. Where's Fiona? I was going to order a pizza for dinner. I took her home, said Becca as she unhooked BD's leash. So how was your afternoon out? He asked. Becca tossed the car keys into a small basket on the kitchen counter. You don't want to know, she sighed. BD walked right past Chase and immediately lay down in her dog bed in the living room. Actually, I do know, he said with a slight smile. 3 different doggy daycares have contacted us to offer both BD and Grace 1 full month free if we sign up with them, now that we've left Fuzzy Muzzle. What? Asked Becca. How did they know? Heck, how did you know? Did Cy just call you or something? No, said Chase. Cy didn't call me. Some people commented on it in my news feed, he said as he held up his phone. That guy at Fuzzy Muzzle got quite an education from all of you. I'm proud of you for standing up to him and taking BD out of there. What do you mean it was in your news feed? Someone commented on it? How? Becca asked him. Not only did people comment, I watched the video, he told her. That was an amazing display of rudeness and ignorance by the manager. He took the word mean to a whole new level. Well, he chose the wrong women to mess with. You looked calm, but I could tell you were really mad. Video? She asked. That's right. Before we left, the man with the white dog did say something about his cell phone. Oh no, she said as her voice trailed off. What? Asked Chase. Is this thing going viral? She asked. I doubt it would go worldwide viral, but viral enough to make Mr. Manager do some thinking. From what I saw, thinking would be a new activity for him. Wow, said Becca, I can't believe you were able to see what a mean guy he was, just from a video. I feel sorry for his employee who quit today. Maybe if we hadn't gone, she'd still have a job. Oh, don't worry about Ashley, she'll be fine, he said. Who's Ashley? She asked. The employee who quit Fuzzy Muzzle, the one you're talking about. Oh, so that's her name. How did you know? All the times we went, I never knew her name, she said. Actually, she's all over the internet now. She's got quite a nice throw. That was a good spiral toss with the football. T-shirt, he laughed. Oh no, groaned Becca. The internet can be a weird place at times. Are they making fun of her? No, just the opposite. She's getting a lot of respect for telling him off and quitting. She appears to have several real offers for better jobs. Some at doggy daycares and one from an important women's political group. There were a few jokes about how she should try out as backup quarterback for the Eagles, but they weren't mean or nasty. Don't worry, you don't own this. Sometimes the things that happen in life happen for a reason. From what I see, this day needed to happen for a lot of people and dogs. Oh no, she said again in a worried voice. Are my students going to see this? Did I say anything wrong? I've always tried to set a good example. Please don't worry. Actually, one of the members of the school board posted a message that he was also taking his dog out of, what did you call it, a place of rudeness? And he praised you, Sonal, and the girls for standing up for what is right. Watch you guys get an award or something. Maybe you'll get to be in a parade like BD was, he smiled. Oh no, she held her head in her hands. Please tell me you're kidding about a parade. I'm kidding about a parade, he said, but you need to relax. It's over. All is well. It's all good. Thank you, Becca told him. Thank you for helping me calm down. No problem. Honey? He asked her. What? She answered. Did you really think they were going to throw a parade for you? He started to laugh. Well, you just kept surprising me with one thing after another. She laughed too. I didn't know what to think. She was laughing so hard that tears were coming to her eyes. Really, Becca, I don't know how I could possibly live with both you and BD being in parades, and I was some kind of loser that nobody wanted in a parade. He was laughing so hard he was making snorting sounds, kind of like pig snorts. It made Becca laugh so hard she got the hiccups. The more she hiccuped, the more pig snorts he made. It had turned back into a regular Saturday at their house again. Aha, thought Betty Dog as she laid in the next room. I can feel happiness floating through the air. What a relief. I was a little worried back at Fuzzy Muzzle. When the mean manager didn't want my friend Gracie there, I didn't want to be there either. I don't know how some humans can look at dogs and think they know if they're good or bad dogs because of their breeds or color. He thought Grace's white stripe made her a bad dog. Actually, Grace is an amazing dog. I know I'm a thinker, but she's a feeler. She feels stuff. She's like an angel dog filled with kindness and love. I could tell she felt sorry for him. Not me. He was mean, and I hate mean. Whether it's mean dogs or mean kids or mean adults, it's very hard for me to forget when someone has been mean to me or someone I love. But Grace, he was the meanest of all to Grace. He was mean to everyone, but he didn't even want Gracie at the daycare. And she felt sad for him? I don't get it. But I'm just glad everything is okay again. I'm home with the people I love. That's the most important thing. She stood up and shook all over. Then she curled up in her bed and fell sound asleep. All right, we'll continue chapter 6 in the next clip.